Do you feel seen? Do you feel really seen by others? What do I mean with that? I mean, do you feel really seen by others in a way? Do they really know you? Have they seen all of you? The bad, the ugly, the positive, the crazy, the gentle sides. I mean, do you feel seen in your totality? It is really important for people to feel seen, and it's not so strange why. It's actually a kind of like basic need as humans that we need, that we strive for. As babies, for instance, like we only know we exist because we are being seen and perceived by others. It's only through the other that reacts to us, that sees us, that tries to connect with us, that we know as a baby that we exist. So feeling seen is a really fundamental necessity that we need to develop, we need to explore ourselves and how to go through life. And our first experiences in feeling seen happen in our household, where we grew up in, where we were born in. That's the first environment that we get to deal with others and their capacity to see us for who we are. And this doesn't always happen automatically, and it's not always as easy for people to be aware of or to do that. If you only think about daily hassle, our lives, work, responsibilities, households, chores, activities, you name it. There are a lot of things oftentimes on our plate, for the parents, but also for the other relatives, that it's not always from bad intention that we are not seeing maybe our child or maybe a relative or a sibling. And also nowadays with the phones and the many screens to look at, I think it's getting even harder for young people, but also older adult people, whether it's in relationships or whether it's at work, that a lot of people are drawn magnetically to their phone. And I think it grows in many people nowadays that we don't always feel seen because attention is given elsewhere, hence the screens. And as a child, because it's our basic need to feel seen, we subconsciously try to strive for that. And this can show in a multitude of different behaviors, but as a child we look up to our parents, and those are our primary caregivers, and we will try to feel seen by them. And for whatever reason, when we don't feel seen, maybe the parents are busy always, or they have too many problems of their own, or they neglect the child, or they prefer the other siblings, or it could be anything. But when it comes to the child not feeling seen, the child will strive for that. So what can happen is that, let's say in a household, there is, the main focus from the parents is on getting good grades in school. If that's the only focus the parents have, like there's nothing wrong with wanting your child to feel or to achieve or do well in school, but if that's the only focus you're having as a parent, then the child will learn that it's only through that way, by doing well in school, that my parents will be proud of me or will be happy with me or will accept me. So in this kind of scenario, a child will learn that I'm only worthy, this is not a conscious process, but it will feel like this over some time, that I'm only worthy if I achieve well in school. And if I'm not doing that, then I will start to feel really bad about myself, because there's nothing left to feel worthy for, because those other things that make me me, like for instance, a child can also be very funny, or a child can be very creative, or a child can be very caring in the household. But if those qualities or sides of that child are not being acknowledged and appreciated, then over time what can happen is that a child will stop nurturing those qualities of him or herself, because there's not a lot of attention given to it. So then over time, a child, while striving to be seen by the parent, while striving to be good in school and get the best grades and be able to come home not scared, because they know the parents will be happy with that, during this whole process striving for that, the child will divert away from its own self, like its own natural core, like who that person is, and in its core, in its nature. And I just gave the example of the good grades, but it could be anything, whatever the child feels like, if I will do that, then my parents will be happy with me. It could be like being the most caring person in the household, or trying to do all the chores in the house, and by doing that, mom and dad will be happy, or being really good at sports, or whatever that the parent is idolizing, or whatever the parent values, and the child notices that the parent values that. And when that happens, like when children get far away from who they actually are, because they learn to get their self-value or their self-worthiness out of these things that they believe the parent, is proud of, then the child will lose itself in its way and will grow up into an adult not knowing who he or she is or what he or she enjoys, because it has been busy for so many years to get accepted, to get appreciated by others. And sometimes this pattern goes on even when we are not living at home anymore. So I think this was an important thing to bring up and to ask you, do you really feel seen, but at the same time, do you really see yourself? And have you reconnected with who you are, or do you have behaviors to seek validation or to get your self-worth?